Sports very often look like they can be far more brawn than brains. I mean, you do see a ton of freak athletes do unbelievably athletic things all the time. However, sometimes there will be those kind of 500 IQ plays, and those are always some of the most fun to watch. Today we're here to talk about a play so genius and so nasty, it got banned within a week.
Banned!
As if to say, this was so smart that it should never ever be allowed again. They knocked it off the books as soon as they could. Because not only did the rule makers never expect something like this, they had to act fast when someone did. In the entire history of sports rules, there may not be another person like this one that we're about to show you that rewrote the rulebook in such a short time, and got a whole section about it in the Game It Happened In's Wikipedia page. This is Kenny Pickett. As a person who grew up in Monmouth County, New Jersey, in the same high school graduating year as Kenny, I actually saw him play with my own two eyes as a teenager, which makes me making this video kinda weird, but also pretty cool for me, but that's not important right now. He just wrapped up his college career as the quarterback for the University of Pittsburgh. For some of you, just hearing his name will tell you the play we're gonna talk about. And I bet even if you figured out what this story is gonna be about, you're gonna stay anyway, because the play was just that cool. It's the 2021 ACC Championship game. Pitt is playing Wake Forest in what was definitely a matchup everyone saw coming. In the first ACC football championship game without Clemson or Florida State since George W. Bush was president, clearly the world wasn't gonna be able to handle this. Kenny Pickett is a really mobile quarterback. He's good at using his legs to his advantage in a position where everyone focuses on arm talent. Don't even think about making a joke about his hand size. We're better than that around here. It's the first drive of the game, and Pickett is ready to use his legs to make something happen. But Pitt's got a 3rd and 5 on their hands. They gotta pick up some yards, and fast, or else Wake Forest can snatch up all the early momentum. He drops back for a pass play. There's nothing there. He takes off. And then this happens.
Pickett, a very good runner. Don't sleep on those legs. Oh, he faked the slide. Whoa! Pickett, did that work?
What's your opinion on the pseudo slide by Kenny Pickett, the Pittsburgh quarterback in the ACC title game?
It makes me want to puke.
Please don't do that. That'd be gross. You can't even pull this move in a video game. Maybe you're wondering, why a fake slide? Why is that so genius that it tore up college football's rulebook? Crash course time. Football is a rough game. That's exactly why Kenny opted out of playing in Pitt's bowl game a few weeks later for a few more complicated reasons. The quarterback in a football game is usually the most important guy on the field. They are probably the last guy their team wants to see get totally laid out. So when quarterbacks are running down the field, they tend to slide to finish the play, instead of, getting clobbered.
Here's the hit. And a ride.
This is considered the safe way for a quarterback to complete a scrambling play untouched. Kenny Pickett used this concept to his advantage, and absolutely torched Wake Forest.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm getting cooked.
What Kenny Pickett did was take away the defense's ability to trust quarterbacks, even a little bit. Now the defenses are going to have no idea whether or not the quarterback is sliding or fake sliding. They are going to try to pummel you, no matter what. And no exaggeration, if anyone got hurt, that could be Kenny Pickett's fault for the rest of football history. And with how very known it is at this point that football can lead to major injuries, especially head injuries, crushing a guy during a slide can be lethal. We're lucky to have picked up some incredible secondhand insight about football injuries that's pretty important to the context of this story. See this play right here? Looks like a pretty routine football hit, right? Rob Gronkowski was in so much pain after the game from that hit that after the Super Bowl level adrenaline wore off, he took a year off football and was unable to sleep for more than 20 minutes at a time for weeks after this. That's how bad this hurt. Arian Foster did a really good job talking about how common injuries are throughout football. Listen to how nonchalant he is about this.
Like after the season, usually everybody gets a surgery of something. I've had meniscus several times. I've had Achilles, back, my pinky, my shoulder. I actually played all of my 2010 season with a broken collarbone.
I went on this little tangent for two reasons. Both have to do with the fake slide. I promise. Number 1, it makes the play seem even more unexpected than it already was. Defenders know that offensive players have absolutely zero intention of getting hurt. They'd be crazy if they did. So when a defensive player sees a quarterback start to slide, it's perfectly reasonable to expect him to finish that slide, making it even more creative for him to fake it. And even more creative than that when you find out that it wasn't planned at all. He just did it. Spur of the moment.
I never thought about doing it, ever. It was just kind of an instinct thing.
But number 2, defenders can't just lay out a quarterback mid-slide. It's a 15-yard penalty at least, maybe even an ejection for a defensive player who does that. So Kenny Pickett completely flipped the rulebook on its head and used it to his advantage in the smartest way he could have in that moment. It was genius. Pitt won the game 45-21. Kenny had a fantastic overall game to lead Pitt to an ACC Championship game win. You may or may not know this, but winning is in fact better than losing. As New York Knicks center Mitchell Robinson said,
"Losing is boring and it's whack."
But in this last game Kenny Pickett played at Pitt and in college, it was also the last game a fake slide could ever happen. 6 days after this, the NCAA Rules Committee officially put a new rule on the books that whenever a player starts to slide with the ball, the play is dead right then and there. Considering, as we talked about, guys will inevitably get brutally injured by being able to fake slide. You saw how bad the less violent football injuries look like compared to how painful they actually are. It may have actually been an accidental good thing that Kenny Pickett closed this loophole. He changed football, and he's fully aware of that. But as former New York Knick Michael Ray Richardson once said on behalf of fake slide fans, the ship be sinking. No more fake slides ever again. Hey man, thanks for enabling everyone to misspell my full first name from my 2nd grade class on every Valentine I got. There's another big reason why we chose to make this video now. Kenny Pickett is about to enter the NFL, maybe even as a top 10 draft pick. Also maybe as the first quarterback taken off the board. As it relates to this video, how his career turns out does not matter. I'm not here to make any sort of predictions about what comes after this. Nobody knows what's coming next anyway. There are quarterbacks who come into the league with great expectations that meet them. There are quarterbacks who come into the league with great expectations that don't. There are quarterbacks who come into the league with no expectations that play great, but not all of them leave behind a legacy or have a signature moment. Before Kenny ever steps on an NFL field, he is both. He was the guy who changed football through one of the coolest plays you'll ever see.